Hello. Hello. I think this is working. Hopefully it's working. Man, this is all new. This is not the way I wanted to do this. Whatever. It is what it. Can I do this? Yes. Sorry, the whole setup is new. It's got me all screwed up because I'll get into it in a minute. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, I think we're good to go. Now I need this. All right, we're going to give this a shot. I'm sure I'm going to regret it in a couple seconds. 3, 2, 1. Go Nintendo Podcast, episode 729, the Brionne Podcast. Hi, everybody. Yes, we're doing a podcast at 12:46 in the morning, East Coast time, New Jersey time, 12. Because, I'll get into it in a minute. Let's talk about Brionne first. Brionne is a water-type Pokemon introduced in Generation 7. It evolves from Piplio starting at level 17 and evolves into, you'll find out next week. We're not doing all that garbage. I just, the description, blah, 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 blah. Usually it's like in the anime. And there we go. Lana's Brionne first appeared in Evolving Research. It evolved from her Poplio after a training session inspired by Ida and her, Primarina's Oceanic Operetta. Sure. Brionne debuted in Balloons, Brionne, and Belligerence under the ownership of Ida. It was first seen being used as a part of a street performance alongside its trainer. It evolved into, I can't tell you, sometime before Evolving Research. It is number 729, 87% female, 12% female. Nope, 87% male, 12% female, 2 feet tall, 38 pounds. There you go. Yes, it is a late show. Did I do what I was supposed to do? Probably not. No, I didn't. Now I did. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I know it's late. I know it's completely out of nowhere. I know last week I said I had to do a completely random show because of travel and all that. Those of you who have been following Go Nintendo for a long time know that every year I take a trip with family to I feel like I should move these. I take a trip with family to North Carolina. It's my mom's side of the family, and that trip is coming up tomorrow. We are starting our trip tomorrow, our drive to North Carolina. And also, for those who don't know, work continues the same on Go Nintendo. I work exactly the same as I would at home, just I'm on my laptop and I have a view of the beach. So you're not going to miss out on any news. I'm not just like, well, see you later. So everything continues as usual, minus tomorrow, because Nintendo and Yoshiller are going to be doing the bulk of the posts during the day. And then when I actually get into North Carolina, into our hotel, I will pick up from there. And then the next day we go into the house that we're renting for the week, and I'll be all set up with my regular internet and everything's back to normal. But tomorrow you should be good. Hi, Jason. I see that you're watching. I got your tweet. Tomorrow is taken care of until I get to North Carolina, and then I'll pick up. So don't worry. News continues as usual. Colma, it's okay. I understand you got to go to bed. Colma says, I usually go to bed at this time, but my job is working me 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I'm awake now. Well, thanks for joining, Colma. My schedule was super busy today. Plus, I still have packing to do and just a lot of stuff going on. So after this, I have to do more work, and then I have to pack, and then we're leaving in the morning. And I went to go do the podcast like I usually do. And I knew that YouTube was ending the Hangouts stuff for streaming, which is how we've been doing the show for years now. And I thought they said it was going away. Maybe they did. Maybe they said it was going away on August 2nd, and it is August 2nd. So that would make sense. So the setup was completely different, and it took me a bit to, A, figure out what I needed to do, and B, set it up so that it could actually recognize the hardware. I'm not doing it at the new podcast setup with the fancy microphones or any of that, because it's just me. These microphones should be just fine for doing this. And then next week we'll be back to usual. But hopefully next week everything will work out fine. I mean, I'm a little worried now that with the new setup, it's not going to detect what I need it to. But, well, we'll see what happens. I'm trying to like rearrange everything so I can see it. I have 2 monitors and I feel I can get less done with 2. There we go. I want you guys right here in front of me. So thanks for putting up with all this craziness and just putting up with a one-person show today. I apologize, but we're doing what we're doing. Got to make it happen. Like I said, I've never missed an episode of the GoNintendo podcast. We've done 298 shows up to today. 1 a week since we started. There's no chance in hell I'm going to be like, oh, we'll just skip one for a week. No chance, damn it. But anyway, I don't know what's going to happen in the show, but we're going to do it. Hello to Robert and Maddie and Autumnal Blake and Robot Face. And I'm laughing at what people are saying because they're like, late night show. Yep. Regnilla and Colma, Fungus, Among Us, and Timothy and DG. And the Sanders guy and Street Jeffin. And whoever, Rob, and whoever else is in here that I didn't see. Thank you very much, the Sanders guy. I really appreciate that. Well, Regnilla says it's going to be weird not listening on Monday. You can listen on Monday. Just don't be here now. Just log out. Keep it a secret until then. You might... PK is asking me what Mario game made me cry. This was a conversation in YouTube comments that I was having. And it's actually a perfect time to talk about it. The one Mario game that I didn't like bawl, but I certainly teared up. The one Mario game that made me tear up was Paper Mario, The 1,000-Year Door, the one that everybody wants to come back and get remastered or remade or whatever. It was trending the other day. And the part that made me cry or tear up was I'm not trying to hide the fact that I cried. I didn't cry. I teared up. Hello, Gecko Kitsune. The part that made me tear up was at the very end. It's been a while since I played it, obviously. But I think when there's a part where Mario is seeing text bubbles for like all the people that are cheering him on. They're not there in the room at the time, but all the things that they've said, wishing him luck and saying you can do it and all that stuff. And there was like, I want to say it was in green. It might not have been, but there was a very little one that was like, you can do it. I don't remember what it said, but it was clearly from Luigi. And I was like, oh my God, his brother's cheering him on. That's so nice. It was just one little tiny bubble out of the whole thing. And I was like, it was so heartwarming to me. Just really nice. I really liked that moment. I'm sure somebody could find that little segment on YouTube somewhere. I'd be curious to see exactly what it said. And if I'm right about it being green or if it was just Luigi and I knew it was Luigi. Rob in the chat says the Mario game that made me cry was New Donk Festival. So new Super Mario Odyssey. He says, it sort of hit me at that moment that a Super Mario 64 style game was back, and that was my childhood nostalgia. See, that's a good thing. That's a good moment, and it goes to show how perhaps the story that the game is telling is not what makes you cry. It's how you tie the game to one of your own memories. It just, something happens in the game and it hits you in a certain way where it means something to you personally. Autumnal, have a safe drive to Sydney. It's okay. I understand you can't stick around. It's not a normal show. So just, any moment in any game can hit somebody in a certain way and just make them tear up or make them cry. Hello, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Yes, Paul, you caught what is probably one of the only late night podcasts that we're ever going to do because that's how it worked out today. But I'm glad you're here. So thanks for joining us. I don't know if I talked about it on a podcast or not. Thank you, Sanders. Sanders says, Luigi said, you go, bro, in Paper Mario and 1,000-Year Door. I don't know if I talked about it on a podcast. I think I might have mentioned it. Maybe I didn't. There was a moment in the latest season of Stranger Things. I'm not going to spoil anything. I know exactly where it was. It was in the 6th episode, and I'd say it was roughly the last 3 minutes of that episode, maybe 5 minutes, somewhere in there. but it was the final like portion of that episode, and the way that they used the music and the acting from some of the main characters. I'm being vague as to not spoil things, but the acting and the way the music swelled and came together and the things that they were talking about, um, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It blew me away, and I legitimately teared up a lot. Like I was crying after that. Hello, Laxter. This is a weird podcast time. Hello, Deontay. So yeah, that moment made me tear up, and that it might not do that for other people. There probably is a term for it, but a lot of moments when I tear up out of happiness, or get goosebumps or something like that, are tied to music. I don't know if there's a term for that or not. Hello, the first Chubasa. Thanks for joining us. And Chubasa says, this will be my background noise as I play video games. Well, whatever you're playing, I hope you have a fun time. Hello, Mario the 7 Stars. You know, I can always depend on you guys. There's a very hardcore group of you that will come out for a live show seemingly whenever it is. So thank you. I know this isn't the most exciting show to do a solo show. It doesn't have our usual crazy antics, but I appreciate your support. Thank you. So yeah, if there's a term for music that makes people have that kind of reaction, just I don't know. There's just something about music that it can heighten an experience so much that it could bring me to tears. Hello, Javier, and hello, Yokobai. Yokobai says hi from Japan. Well, hello. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful. Well, in Japan, here it's Friday, but in Japan it's later Friday. Whatever time of day it is where you are, I hope you're having a lovely day, and it's Friday. Hopefully you don't have to work, and you can take it easy and play some games, and you got a great weekend ahead of you. Is this not record? Oh, it is. Oh my God, I got so nervous. I thought Audacity just stopped recording. I even restarted my computer before I did this podcast because I'm a professional. I want to make sure it didn't crash. I can't tell you how many times I get memory warnings on this computer because I'm still... it's pretty old. It's not as old as my laptop, but editing videos and all that stuff, and I have very limited hard drive space, and it crashes from memory issues all the time. I'm still using Windows 7, like so behind. So my laptop, which is way older, is running the newest version of Windows. So this is where I do most of my work. That's why I'm in here doing the podcast. Just because my desktop can handle it better, and I have a better chair here, and I'm trying to not annoy Mom Brain while she's sleeping. All right. Hello, Video Game Guru. He says, I'm going to bed soon because of work. Yep. Isn't that the way, my friend? Hello, Adam. Thanks for joining us. Oh, no. See, I'm so, out of... What am I doing? I got my desktop right here. I could just do it right here. I'm so out of sorts for what usually goes on with the podcast. I'm trying not to hit my microphones. They're blocking the keyboard. I wasn't expecting to type. I want to give a special shout out to our Patreon gang. Thank you very much to you guys for supporting the Patreon. I can't thank you enough for it, really. And today, because I'm in each show, I'm going to thank thank one podcast or one Patreon member in particular. I'm going to thank Teddy Pocket Watch. Thank you very much, Teddy Pocket Watch, for joining the GoNintendo Patreon. Hello, Ypooks. What's your name? Yikes Spooky backwards. Your name is Yikes Spooky backwards. Hello, Yikes Spooky. And he says, I loved your Doom video. Is there going to be a part 2? That video just really came together. I knew I had a lot to talk about there. It was fun. I like playing Doom. It was just good. I'm glad you liked it. Will there be a part 2? Maybe. I don't know. I have to finish up the rest of the Wendy's levels in Super Mario Maker 2 first, and then maybe I'll go back to Doom or play Doom 2 or something like that. But thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I was going to say over on the Patreon, I feel like we're having a lot of fun. I make sure to do a daily blog post for every weekday. So Monday through Friday, there will be daily one blog post there. Wednesdays, I've made always comics. Every other day is pretty much open. Hello, Mitty. Thanks for joining. I know a lot of people want me to talk about wrestling over on the Patreon, and I am going to talk about wrestling without a doubt, because there's very big things coming up in the world of wrestling. Plus, I'm a wrestling fan. So I am going to do that. I just don't want to make it a weekly thing because I don't know. See, I made comics a weekly thing, and for some reason I feel like that's okay. But wrestling, I'm like, I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if I want to do that weekly. I mean, personally, I would, yes. But comics, I just feel are more related to the world of video games, I guess, in some ways. There's certainly more characters in video games that come from the world of comics than there are video games with wrestlers in them. So maybe that's it. But yeah, we're having Paul says, wait, you have a blog. Well, I have GoNintendo.com, which is where I work all day long. But over on the Patreon, for those who don't know, I started the Patreon because it had, hello, Mario Mania. There have been 5 years of people asking me to start a Patreon, and I always felt like a jerk because I didn't want to do it. And I also didn't want people to think that if I started a Patreon, it meant they were going to have to pay to get content on GoNintendo. So, it just took a long time. And after so many people asking, I was like, I'll do it. Hello, Eric. Thanks for joining. So I started the Patreon, but I was still nervous. People thought they were going to have to pay to get content on GoNintendo. I was going to block content on GoNintendo. Again, if you don't know, that is not the case. I will never, ever do that. I'm not blocking content on GoNintendo, ever. So you get all the same news, reviews, features at the same time over there. No worries about that at all. But what I do over there is just blog posts. There's other plans for features that I'm going to do that are not related to, or that might just be like personal opinions or thoughts, or just I'm never going to do just a video review for over on Patreon. The content will go to everybody, but what is exclusive are just the blogs from me, which could be about anything. I will do a short blog about anything. So I did a blog today about, let's see, it was about voice chat and Switch games, what you use when you're doing voice chat online. I wrote a post about the new X-Men comic book, Powers of X. It's Powers of X or House of X. I know both. One came out this week, one came out last week. But I don't remember the name of the one that I read. But I wrote a review of the issue that I read because I loved it, thought it was fantastic. So every Wednesday is comics because new comics come out on Wednesday. That's the day. My one block of time off of GoNintendo is Wednesdays, 6 to 10 p.m. East Coast time. And what I do is I finish up at 6. Nintendo takes over on GoNintendo. I tell them thank you, and I go out with Mom Brain to the comic book shop, and I get my pre-orders of comics. It's called your pull list. I get my pulls from the comic book guy and hang out and talk with him a little bit, and then we go get something to eat. So that's what I do every Wednesday. I love it. So I thought Wednesdays would be a great time to do a post about comics. So I've done reviews and just features about comics in general. What else did I do this week? Let's see. It was House of X. I could have looked right here. I'm so not used to having my desktop here. I talked about Switch hidden gems, asking what people were talking about there. I talked about how I talked about how I am always honest in my reviews. But I personally hate doing negative reviews because no matter how bad a game is, there are multiple people that worked on it, and I would guess worked hard. And they may think it's good, or they may be proud of their work that they did. And then I feel like a lot of reviews, instead of just actually critiquing the game, I feel like a lot of reviews come out with some like mean-spirited language. And they like to like really sock it to the developers or the publishers. But working on the internet for 17 years, I feel, there's people behind the internet. There's people behind these games. There's people behind comments. So when I negatively review a game, I make it my point to critique the game itself and not bash the developer or come out with a constructive criticism is what I'm saying, basically. I don't like the negativity that I personally find in a lot of reviews pertaining to the people that make the game, or just, over-the-top language and harsh stuff. I'm not talking about cursing or anything. I'm just critique the game. Review the game. I don't need to hear about how you think this company sucks or overall and how these developers do a poor job, or, So I did a review of Phobia this week, and it wasn't. The game is not fun if the soundboard was here. By the way, I bought all the stuff for the soundboard, so that's coming back next week. But but the game wasn't fun. And writing a negative review for me is always honestly it's a sad experience because I don't like telling people this game sucks, but I want to be honest. I want to be truthful. I always tell you the complete truth with my reviews. I just like to do so in a way that's level-headed, while being honest and fair and constructive. So that's what I try to do. I just, I put I put reviews out there, and when they are negative, I'm like, man, I feel bad. I feel bad because there's got to be at least one person on a team who thought they did a good job with something. And, hello, Namekian Clown. Yes, I know it's a late podcast, or early technically. Hello, Suave. Thanks for joining. What day are you going to review manga? Says Reginilla. Well, that would be Wednesdays too, I guess. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Yeah, I really try. My goal with GoNintendo from day one. Hello, Vectros. Well, Vectros, thank you. I'd love to have you back. Hello, Caramel Kitty. Vectros, since you haven't listened in a long time, let me tell you, this setup here with my old school microphones is not the way we do it anymore. As of a few podcasts ago, we got a professional board and professional microphones. So next week's show will be actual good microphones and all that. But for this show, because it's just me, thought I'd do the old school setup. Anyway, with GoNintendo, I always try to be, I try and give it a personal feel. That goes for everything I do with GoNintendo. The site, the Twitter, the Facebook, the YouTube videos, all of it. I want it to feel like I'm a person. I don't want it to feel like I'm a company. I don't want it to feel like I'm a faceless entity out there. You guys are kind enough to come to GoNintendo and read whatever we do. And I want to show my appreciation by talking to you like a person, not talking to you like a corporation or a business. And yeah, I'm a business. It's how I make my living. I get it, but it grosses me out, to tell you the truth, to talk like that. And I've honestly lost a lot of support from companies, advertisers, and publishers and developers because they want me to handle things in a more quote-unquote business-like way. And I'm like, if you're telling me that, then you don't know anything about GoNintendo, because that's not who I am. That's never the voice I've put out there, and that's not anything I ever want to be. I want this to be personal. I want this to be a back and forth, like I want it to feel real. There's enough personal stuff, or there's enough, I don't want to get into stuff that makes it sound like I'm knocking other organizations, because they do what they do. But I like to think I come through as being honest and genuine and give you something more real feeling. So that's my approach with GoNintendo. Sometimes it's dog and pony show, and sometimes it's not. But as far as the podcast goes, the new microphones have made a big difference. Like I said to you guys, we have 2 different companies that want to bring us on board with their network. I'm super excited about that. There's more to talk about in the future. Maxim says, LMAO, I like you. If you shill Mountain Dew, I'll give you a pass. No Mountain Dew, but camera's here. Yeah. If you like cream soda, man, this is good. Dr. Brown's cream soda. This is the diet version. But man, Dr. Brown's cream soda is so good. Let me get that sponsored. That'd be great. Hello, Games Cube. So yeah, I mean, when I get into these solo shows, you know how I am. I could ramble on forever about GoNintendo in general, because like it's 1 a.m, and I know it's not 1 a.m. for everybody, but wherever you are in the world, there are people watching live. Wherever you are right now, you may be watching the archived version, or you go to GoNintendo and support us on Patreon, or read the site, or go to the Twitter and all that stuff. So thank you. It means a ton to me, and I'll never understand why so many people do it, but you do. And in particular, the Twitter account lately, holy moly, the Twitter account over the last 5 months has been getting so much love, and I really appreciate it. Where, like, I don't know, it's just like really picking up steam, because all of my stuff, again, if you've been with GoNintendo for a long time, all of my stuff, I make it my goal to not shove it down people's throats. I don't want to be like every post follow on Twitter, every post like on Facebook. I wanted to get out there organically. My thought is, if people like it, hopefully they'll like it enough to a point where they'll share it with other people. And obviously a big part of that is on Twitter. And that's what's happening. So it's very cool. Hello, I'm an F and T Rex. I can't believe it. Like, it's crazy. The way Twitter's going lately is so awesome to see. I really do try and do fun stuff on Twitter as far as the images I use and GIFs for certain things. And if I had more time, I would get in there and interact with people more. But honestly, I'm super pressed for time as it is. I try and get in there. It's very difficult, but Twitter's going great. Hello, Deku Man. He says, I've been listening to GoNintendo podcast on and off since 2005, so almost 15 years. It's amazing how you keep this going. Well, Deku Man, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it is how I make my living. Obviously, things are going well because I'm still making my living doing it. But it's more than that. It's about, well, obviously, I like Nintendo a lot. That's a big part of it. But I have, there's a community that's come together around it that is full of great people, I think. So I did not expect my life to go this way. And I mean that as a positive. Like, blogger wasn't a job when I was in high school, thinking about what I was going to do in the future. It just wasn't a thing. And a whole string of occurrences led me to where I am now, and it's how I make my living. It's crazy. It's so crazy, man. I can't believe it. So those who have been here since day one and those who have been here since yesterday, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. That's enough rambling for me. God damn it. Let's do some news. We're going to be shorter on news this week, obviously, because the week's not over yet. I usually get another day's worth of news, but there's some fun stuff to talk about. Like Fire Emblem. Get this out of the way. Fire Emblem Three Houses has debuted at the #1 spot in the UK, and it almost doubled Awakening sales and more than doubled the first two Fates titles. Now, as I often say, UK is PlayStation territory, but Fire Emblem seems to do well over in the UK, especially in recent years, and Fire Emblem Three Houses has done really well. It took the #1 spot, and it managed to beat out Wolfenstein Youngblood, which came in at #2. Now, I know Wolfenstein Youngblood is a spin-off title for the Wolfenstein franchise, but still, Wolfenstein is A, big name franchise, B, multi-platform franchise. Fire Emblem Three Houses is only on Switch, so for Fire Emblem Three Houses to squeak in there and steal the #1 spot, good for Fire Emblem, man. The growth of Fire Emblem in the last few years has been really something to see. It's a very cool story. Regnilla says, I'm playing it right now. Who would have guessed? Well, what house are you, Regnilla? Shillelagh says, that's great. I'm sure someone can work out the number sold given the above information. Yeah, I haven't dived into what exactly the numbers are because the UK software sales never say the exact numbers or anything like that. What I want to see is the sales for other regions in Europe to see where the game lies. When does that come in? That's something that just started recently. I think it should come in maybe Saturday night, Sunday. We'll see how the game's doing in other areas of Europe overall. I'm interested to see if it'll make the top 10. I guess, I mean, if it's doing it well in the UK, it should do somewhat well in Europe overall. So hopefully it's in the top 10 somewhere. I asked someone a question. I don't want to miss them. Thank you, Sanders. I try and get better at correcting information. I do make mistakes, but I try and correct it and apologize for it. Who did I ask that question? This is terrible. This is Raw Meat After Dark, yes. Okay, I asked Reginilla. Reginilla says, Blue Lions all day. There you go. That's what he's playing. Hi, Microtic. Thanks for joining. So many fresh, I was going to say faces, but it's just your name. So many fresh, or so many new and familiar avatars in here tonight. Hello, Lightning Bro. Podcast in the middle of the night on Thursday. Yeah, this is our new time and schedule. This is when we're usually doing it. Hello, Lanquin. No, busy schedule. That's why I had to do it tonight, and it's just me. Kirby sends his love, as in podcast Kirby. He would have been able to do the podcast today later in Thursday, but obviously can't do it now because he's got to go to his regular job in the morning. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. Okay, this is really cool. And, well, I'm sorry you missed them, Deku Man, but I'm glad you could catch one live too. This is something that started off in Japan, and then as the week went on, we got confirmation for everywhere else. Nintendo was calling it, at least in Europe and North America, game trials for the Switch. And it's one more reason why you should pony up the cash, or Nintendo thinks you should pony up the cash for Switch Online memberships. So it seems like Nintendo is going to do these game trial things with Switch Online, which means they are going to, from time to time, pick games and pick a certain time span where Switch Online members can play that game in its entirety for no additional costs. So you pay your Switch Online membership, for 1 month or a year, whatever it may be. And in the case of Japan, from August 5th to August 11th, anyone who has a Switch Online membership will be able to play Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, the full game, as much as you want during that time period. So anywhere from the 5th to the 11th, as long as you have your Switch Online membership, you can play the game. You download like a special game trial version of it, and it will give you full access to the game throughout those dates. And then after that date, the game locks and you can't play it anymore. But still, that's great. Even if you're paying the $20 for Switch Online, as long as Nintendo keeps offering things like this on a regular basis, that's really cool. You get all of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, the whole game. I mean, from 5th to the 11th, you can no doubt beat that entire game. Or you could get a start on it, which I'm guessing Nintendo hopes you do. You start it, you play it, you like it, and then, the time expires and you're like, I think I'm going to buy that game. Because they're marrying these options with special sale prices too on the game itself. And I don't know if the sales are for Switch Online members or just in general, but obviously the motivator here is you play the quote unquote free version of the game and then you go in and buy the full version. So that's a major deal for Nintendo to do that. I know other, like PlayStation has their PlayStation Plus service where you pay and new games are added at no additional cost to the PlayStation Plus service, and you can play them forever. So that's certainly good. But Nintendo knows, or that's certainly better, I would say, but Nintendo knows their strength is in their first party stuff. So even though you can't play it forever, you still have a chance to play the whole game for free. And it's more than what they were offering before. It'll be cool to see if they work with third parties to offer their games as well. Maybe they will. I don't know. But yeah, it's a really cool thing to see happening, and it's very un-Nintendo. I'm surprised they're doing it. Roth says, waking everyone up in the middle of the night for a podcast. Yes. So, sorry, Roth. It's true. I hope I didn't wake you up. Autumnal Blake says, that's super awesome. I hope they do this kind of thing around the world. Well, Autumnal Blake, your hopes came true, because yes, Nintendo is doing this in Europe and North America, and we are not getting Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, at least at this time, but we are getting Mario Tennis Aces. So you get all of Mario Tennis Aces, which is great because Mario Tennis Aces, well, it has a finite story mode, also can be played in multiplayer from now until the end of time. So perhaps you jump in and you play the story mode and you really enjoy the game and you're like, I do want to play this with friends. So you end up buying the game after you play the Switch Online trial or game trial. So yeah, I love it. I think it's a really cool idea. So yeah, I'm interested to see what other games they work into this. Obviously, this is the first one. The launch of game trials in general. So I don't know how often they're planning on doing this. Like, it'd be nice if at the very least they did it once a month, but it's Nintendo. So, they might do it like now and then 6 months from now. I don't know. And hopefully come next E3, they'll have some special offers. I don't even want to think about next E3. Hi, Drew. Also this week, Nintendo shared their Q1 earnings release for their new fiscal year. And here's a little tidbit for you. My favorite quarter of Nintendo's fiscal years is Q1. Do you know why that is? I'm going to let the chat guess for a couple of minutes, and if I see the right answer, I'll say it, but otherwise I'll just explain it. I want to see if anybody can guess. Q1 of Nintendo's fiscal year earnings is always my favorite quarter. Why is that? While you guys try and guess that, let's go into what Nintendo did. Let's do the fun stuff. Super Mario Maker 2 has sold 2.42 million units. So at this time when the report came in, Super Mario Maker 2 had 3 days worth of sales under its belt. So worldwide total was 2.42 million in 3 days. Total sales for the Wii U version were 4 million life to date. So Super Mario Maker 2 managed to half that total in 3 days. Let's see. Laxter. Laxter's. I'll give it to Laxter. He got it. Laxter says something about the investor Q&A. That is true. It is something about the investor Q&A. I love Q1 results because Nintendo doesn't do an investor Q&A. They only put out the data, which is 1 day, and then that's it. No investor Q&A, no follow-up slideshows or presentations, which as a fan, hello, Remo or Ziding. As a fan, I don't like, but as someone who's doing work, I love, because the first day of data for Nintendo's quarter results is the easiest. It's the stuff after that's a pain in the butt because you have to follow it live. Then I have to chronicle the slideshow that they do, the presentation to investors. Then they have the Q&A session, which has to be translated from Japanese to English. So we have to go from people who are there, who can translate on the fly, and sometimes that information isn't correct. And then they put the Japanese version online, which then again has to be translated by a fan translator because Nintendo takes their time doing the official translation. So I have to do the second sweep and go through all that stuff and see what other tidbits are in there. And then, it's usually a week and a half later, Nintendo puts out the official English translation, which we also have to cover because then you have the official final word from Nintendo in English. So it's a week and a half of hell. I hate it. Next, E3 is my most hated thing to cover as someone who's working, not as a fan. As a fan, I love E3. But working, it's a nightmare. But right behind that is any investor briefing. It's terrible. It's terrible. Because I'm so worried about not getting things correct, and I don't want to mislead people. But Mitty had a good point. Mitty says, you don't like the dumb investor questions? I do. I love the dumb investor questions. My favorite one of all time was the guy that was like, hey, who mows your lawn and trims the bushes here at Nintendo? Because they do a wonderful job. Oh, man. I love that somebody had the balls to ask that, or the stupidity, I don't know, or the genuine curiosity, whatever it is. Oh, man, what a great question. Anyway, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold another 1.2 million units, and its total is at 17.89 million units so far. Switch hardware and software reached 2.13 million units in the quarter, up for both 13% up on hardware and 25% up on software. That's on a yearly basis. 3DS was down, not surprisingly, 44% down in hardware, 49% down in software. Nintendo's digital sales saw a 65% increase year over year. Mobile saw a 10% increase year over year. Net sales reached 172 billion. Operating profit was at 27 billion. But they didn't make as much this year because there was foreign exchange losses of 12 billion, which hurt. Nintendo says that many key titles are expected to be released by other software publishers as they continue to offer attractive titles that are filled with variety. So it's the usual statement Nintendo says every quarter. Our third-party friends are making all kinds of experiences that we don't normally make, and more on that to come. And their latest trend of saying the same thing about the 3DS is once again spouted here. They're going to continue to leverage the platform's rich software library to appeal to consumers purchasing game hardware for the first time, while continuing to drive sales of evergreen titles that leverage the hardware's install base. Nintendo, when it comes to mobile, is going to focus on ensuring that more consumers can enjoy the applications that they have previously released, and that includes stuff like Dr. Mario World, which is recent, but Mario Kart Tour is still coming out. My mom visited today, and she was playing, hello, Arcade Perfect. She was playing Dr. Mario World. She was telling me how much she really liked it. Yeah, I'll do this. They updated their million sellers list. I'll do it for the Switch, not for the 3DS, because those numbers are pretty flat. We did Mario Kart. Super Mario Odyssey is at 14.94 million. Smash Bros. Ultimate is at 14.7 million. Breath of the Wild Switch only is at 13.6 million. Pokemon Let's Go is at just shy of 11 million. Splatoon 2 at 9 million, Super Mario Party at just shy of 7 million, Super Mario Brothers U, New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe is at 4 million, 1-2 Switch at 3 million, and Mario Tennis Aces at 2.7 million. They put out their first and third party release schedule for notable releases. Obviously this is a list of I don't know, 50 games, but there's way, way, way more than that coming to the Switch. But these are, Nintendo's IP and their partnerships, and then like the quote unquote notable third party releases. And there's really nothing in there that wasn't in there last time. It's, no real changes to what we knew was coming. Animal Crossing New Horizons now has the March 20th, 2020 release date that was announced at E3. Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, and Breath of the Wild 2 are all to be announced, which is to be expected. People were hoping to get something on Bayonetta, but not yet. I think it's safe to say that Bayonetta is not coming out this year. Nintendo's already got a loaded 2019 end to 2019 as it is. PK says he wants Diddy Kong Racing too. I mean, that would be great. That would be really cool. And I don't know if you're going to do it. What do? You give it to Retro? Certainly Retro could handle it without a doubt, but I don't know. I don't know what you do. But you're not the first one to say you want one of those. That and Pokemon Snap too. Autumnal Blank says, with Pokemon and Animal Crossing coming up, I can see the Switch easily surpassing 60 million in the next year. Nintendo didn't revise their forecast for this fiscal year, so they're still expecting, I think they're saying 18 million for this year. They're projecting 18 million Switch units sold. And a lot of people think they're on the light side with that. Oh, I made a joke and I didn't even mean to. They're on the light side with that because the Switch Lite is coming out. Plus, you have some heavy hitters in there, especially around the holiday season, like Pokemon Sword and Shield, Luigi's Mansion 3. So people think they're underestimating, which is a good thing to see. But if you wanted to know the very short of it, the Switch is 10% up year over year. And the Switch is in line with how the PS4 was, or is, how do I say this? Is in line with what the PS4 was selling at the same time period in the PS4's lifespan. I'm sure some of you saw the news that the PS4 is over 100 million units shipped now. And for the Switch to be keeping trend with that, even, it's still early on for the Switch, but still for it to be keeping trend with that is fantastic. And I think there's some very bright days ahead for the Switch. Not that these days aren't bright. They're great. What a turnaround from the Wii U, man. Great to see. We do that. Let's see here. I want to give a special thank you to Yoshiller for covering the Smash Brothers Ultimate presentation that Sakurai put on to showcase Dragon Quest Hero joining the game, who's now available in the game. Yoshiller, I talked to Yoshiller and I was like, Yoshiller usually covers the site from like 6 to 9 in the morning, West Coast time. Which is when I'm sleeping. And hello, Samichi. It is a late night podcast this week. I'm busy over the weekend. And I was like, Yoshiller, do you want me to hang around to cover this instead of having you do it? And he's like, no, it should be okay. And we talked it over. Hello, Rotten Tanuki. So he did it, and he did a great job. So thank you, Yoshiller, for doing that. I don't usually sleep. No, I don't usually sleep. My sleeping schedule, I hate going to bed. I don't know if I've ever said this. I've said a million things on the podcast. I'm sure I've said this. I hate going to bed. I hate it. There are times when I'm tired and I'm happy to get sleep, but in general, I hate the idea of going to bed because it means I have to wake up and start working again. Just like anybody else, plenty of people wake up in the morning when their alarm goes off and they're like, oh God, I gotta go to work. But also because at night is when I get more free time. And that's when I get to do more stuff that I want to do. Not that I don't want to do GoNintendo. I love doing GoNintendo. I am, whatever word you want to say, blessed to have GoNintendo as what I do for a living. And I would never complain about my job sucks. I hate doing all this stuff. I might say I hate covering a particular thing because it's a lot of work. But in general, I have no problem with it at all. But, at night, I get some free time and I can do other things that I want to do. Like I'll catch up on wrestling. Usually on Monday nights, when Raw's on, I'll watch in the living room and work off my laptop. And then Tuesday night, we have people over, which is when SmackDown is on. So Wednesday during the day, I have the second monitor. I'll watch SmackDown on the second monitor while I'm working here. But I can watch other wrestling stuff at night when I don't have to work as much. I can play games, which is great. That's why my videos come out later in the day, because that's when I finally get a chance to play something. Remo, I'm definitely going to watch AEW. Yeah, I've seen all the AEW pay-per-views so far, and I'm having a big party here for All Out on, what is that? The 31st? August 31st? August 30th? Let's see. I know it's a Saturday. 31st, August 31st. Yeah, we're having a big party for AEW. This is all wrestling talk. I could talk about wrestling forever. But also, now that I got into comics this year, I read comics at night. I have a setup where I can like plop my book down and get some lights going and read comics, and just, it's very nice to, like, during the day, it's like videos are playing and there's lots of trailers and music and TV's on and stuff like that. But at night, I can like go in a room that's completely quiet. No one else is there. And I just sit down with some comic books and read them. And it's great. I'm so happy I got into comics. They're fantastic. I feel bad that I missed out for so long. But man, it's great. If I had more free time, the stuff I would do as far as like content creation about comics and wrestling and anime and just a whole bunch of stuff. It's, I'm very passionate about my hobbies. I think I have a quote on my phone. I'm not going to look about it. I think it's important to be passionate about your hobbies. And I always enjoy my hobbies more when I have someone else to share them with, friends, family, whatever. And thankfully, I have a lot of those. You guys too. I love talking with you guys in the after show or during the podcast about, whatever my hobbies are, because a lot of you guys share the same hobbies. So there's a lot of great discussions to be had. I don't know how we got on this. I have to talk about, Smash Brothers went to bed. Yoshiller covered. Anyway, getting back to Nintendo. They did the Smash Brothers presentation to cover Hero, and they announced that Hero was available that same day, just later in the day. But yes, after much speculation, the Hero character was added to Smash Brothers that same day. So I have not had a chance to try out the character myself. I don't get to play Smash nearly as much as I want, and I should have been practicing because my cousin's kids are going to North Carolina with us, and we play a ton of games. And they are all Smash Brothers fans, or I should say, no, yeah. Every one of them is a Smash Brothers fan, and have been since they're a lot younger. So they came in at the tail end of Melee and really got in Brawl, and have played a lot after that. And I used to be able to beat them like pretty easily. And then it was, this is a good fight. And now they're at the point where I get my ass kicked all the time. I've been trying to play as King K. Rool, and I haven't put in enough time with the character, and I'm still trying to force myself to stick with him. And I get my ass kicked. I can put up a fight, but I can't seem to seal the deal. So I'm sure it's only going to be worse in North Carolina this year, but I got to fight for my honor. Maybe I got to switch back to Rob. Rob was my guy, and I just abandoned him for the king. I feel bad now. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's someone telling me you shouldn't have abandoned Rob. Can you see that? Rob? Can you see? Where is he? Rob's over there somewhere. Both Robs are back there. Rob Amiibo. I can turn this. The Amiibo shelf over there. I have the Famicom Amiibo for Rob and the American one as well. Rob should never have been abandoned, says King Broly. Yeah, I know. Maybe I should go back to him. Maybe that's why I lost my spark. Oh my God, King Broly comment live, and top rated comment on this next story is King Broly. What are the chances? Thanks, Rob. Thanks for now another Rob in the chat is forgiving me because he thinks I dropped him as a main, unless this really is Rob. Anyway, the next top story is one that came out of nowhere and surprised a ton of people. And I specifically remember seeing this game the first time and being like, well, there's a game that'll never come to Switch. I was wrong. Very happy to be wrong. The Outer Worlds from Obsidian Entertainment is coming to the Switch. That is crazy to me. It's basically Fallout, but not Fallout, made by Obsidian. So I think they know what they're doing here. And people are very excited about that game. And I didn't think there would be any chance in hell that game would come to Switch. I don't know why that wasn't revealed at E3. Maybe they didn't want it to get lost in the mix. Maybe they wanted to give it a chance to breathe and make some noise on its own. Or maybe the deal wasn't sealed then. Or maybe they weren't sure they could make it happen. Who the hell knows? No, not talking about the Garfield game. No. Yes, the Outer Worlds is coming to Switch. This is really cool. Feels like it's That's going to be a good game to fill a void in the Switch's library as far as that kind of genre goes. There's a couple of those games on the system, but nothing new and nothing like huge that people are really looking forward to. So that's awesome. We still don't know the release date. I don't know if it's going to be day and date with the other versions, but just to know that it's coming is very cool. King Broly has the top rated comment. And he says, a Bethesda account is not required to play this title. Oh, we got a zing. We got a different, couple different types of zingers in there, in reference to the Doom situation where people were excited to see the Doom trilogy come to Switch, and then noticed that you had to have a Bethesda account to log in and play the game. And there was some talk originally of needing to always be connected online to play, which is not the case. But you do have to do a Bethesda account login, which people were annoyed about, but Bethesda has since said that shouldn't have been the case. It's supposed to be something for the Slayers Club that you could have like not done. They're going to fix it in a patch. To my knowledge, it still hasn't been fixed yet, but it's not like the games have been out long. So King Broly jumped in there with the timely zinger. What did I don't even want to get into it, but yes, perfect timing on that joke, King Broly. We don't need to do that. Super Mario Maker 2 has hit 4 million courses uploaded, and Nintendo celebrated it by showing a new stage of their own, which you can check out, which focuses on the, whatever it is, the Super Hammer. So if you'd like to check out Nintendo's stage that they created to showcase the Super Hammer, you can use this course ID, XYK9FY And there you go. You can check that out. But yes, 4 million courses. So we know the game, after 3 days of sales, was sold to 2.4 million people. So the total install base now has to be nearing 4 million people, if not already over it. It'll be interesting to see how well that game does, because the Wii U was the Wii U. Didn't sell well. It sold 13 million units worldwide, 13 plus. Super Mario Maker sold 4 million units on the Wii U, which is a notable achievement considering how small the install base is for the Wii U. But Switch has them. And then you had the 3DS port, which, people are already like, 3DS is dead. I don't play 3DS anymore. So it sold a considerable amount there, but less than the Wii U version. I believe less. Maybe I'm wrong. But the Switch version, or the Switch Super Mario Maker 2, has a much bigger market to reach. And I think it's shown in its first 3 days. So I'm interested to see where it ends up after a year from now, how many units it's moved. I want to see where it lines up with other, like Odyssey and stuff like that. See if it could beat something like, I don't know, Splatoon 2. Could it reach 9 million units? Yeah, I think it could. Autumnal Blake says, with this level of engagement, I'm sure there will be more to come from this game. New course parts are almost certain and will lead to even more interesting courses. I'll be very interested to see what new modes or features get added. It's unlikely, but some kind of online mode focused on making rather than playing could be really interesting. I think you're right, and we know, I'll mention that in a second, Langwin. Hello, Bats. Yeah, we know new stuff is coming. We know that they still have the update to do. That'll include online co-op for people, which is something people complained about before the game came out. So that's coming out well. So that update's to come, and I'm sure there'll be other stuff as well. Yes, Langquin says the Blue Yeti still sounds good for solo podcasts. Yeah, these microphones are great for solo podcasts. Hello, Mia. So there's that, and then there's who else was I reading? Bats. Bat says beard game on point, and Never Ever is here talking about my bat. And Annie Austin is here. Yes, Annie Austin. It is a late night podcast. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. All right. Pokemon. This is crazy. I know Pokemon Go is like huge, but this is crazy. Pokemon Go has hit 1 billion downloads worldwide. 1 billion. How many people are in the world? 7 billion? 8 billion? Something like that? Yeah, and it's at 1 billion. Now, obviously that's multiple downloads per person, and people have all different devices. I mean, hello, BagelNet. Look at that one guy who's got like the 20, however many it is. 27 phones that he rides around on a bike with. So that guy's doing his part right there. But 1 billion downloads, and people are still hello Nathan. People are still really having fun with that game. People are still excited about it. Obviously, we had the huge boom about that game when it first came out, but people were hopping on the bandwagon that don't really play mobile games, but everybody was playing it, so they were like, yeah, let me get in there and see what's going on. And for a couple months there, a lot of people were playing. So after that, it kind of fell down, but the players were like hanging in there and spending money. And then Niantic was like, we're going to add in new features to keep people going and keep people interested. And here we are, 1 billion downloads later. First comment comes from Autumnal Blake, and he says, that's incredible. The same number of downloads as 1/7 the population of Earth. I just got a new phone that can play it, so I've been having some fun with it. Yeah, hello, Jack. I gotta get back into the game. I haven't played it in a long time. And when it first came out, I was in North Carolina, like right when the boom was happening. So that's really exciting. When was the last time I played? I can't remember. I know plenty of people in real life that still play the game. Maybe it's time for me to get back. How many of you guys still play? Hello, Robot Face. Thanks for coming back. Arc System Works. I don't know how they're going to do this. Arc System Works says Kill La Kill, the game, is out, and they want you to have fun playing it. But they say story mode is not allowed to be streamed. You can't stream it. You can't upload videos of it. They say the game is prohibited indefinitely as far as streaming of story mode goes. How do you do that? Hold on one second. I don't know how you enact that. Like, how do you say don't stream the story mode, don't upload the story mode anywhere? Like, okay, maybe on YouTube it's easy enough to do that, but there's Twitter. What do you do on Twitter? Hello, Otaku64. What do you do on any number of video sites? What do you do on Reddit? Do you like if Reddit has its own video uploads? How do you block it there? I don't see how you do this. I guess they could have something set up automatically on YouTube, but outside of that, I really don't have any idea. And I understand, like, they don't want story mode spoiled, because if people can just go online and watch the story, then that's what they'll do. So why bother playing, or why bother buying the game? So I understand the sentiment, but it's the internet. Like, what? As soon as you tell the internet not to do something, they're going to do it. Rat Mastered says, maybe this is all a clever ploy to get people to play a mediocre-looking game about a dead anime from 5 years ago. Is it a dead anime? That makes me sad. I thought people still talked about it. Well, I'm saying I'm sad, and I have the phone case. And you guys know I like the anime a lot. But I felt like it is strange that the anime that the game came out so long after the anime. Colma says it's totally dead. It wasn't exactly a timely release. Like Attack on Titan's game was much more timely because the series is still going on. So I don't know why now they just decided to do a game. It would be helpful if we knew, like, maybe something else was going on with the Kill La Kill license. Like maybe they have plans for something else, but who the hell knows? I got no idea. But I still like the anime. I still haven't had a chance to play the game because I've just been too busy. I want to play it, but I'm still gonna play it. Oh no, what did I do? I closed the wrong window. I just, I've read the reviews and I'm like, oh man, not getting really good reviews. Makes me a little nervous about it. So I'm not like chomping at the bit to get it. Who knows? Or chomping at the bit to play it. I'll get to it eventually. Have any of you guys, thanks King Broly. Have any of you guys played the game? Hello, Antonio. I'd be interested to know what you think. And I'm also interested to know if, like, you played it and you didn't watch the anime. I'm sure there's people that are in that camp because they put out the demo And Colm was talking about the demo right now. So maybe there's a couple people who never heard of the anime or didn't watch the anime and saw like that the demo was out and they're like, oh, I'll give it a shot. But I'm really curious as to how many people have no idea what the anime is, didn't watch the anime, but still bought the game. Like I don't know why you would do that. Colma says he's waiting for a major price drop. Yeah, I think it's going to be a while before that. I mean, maybe it'll happen. Nintendo is hosting a special Nintendo Live event in Japan. What is this? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm doing something for you, Colma. There you go. Sorry, Nintendo Live 2019 in Japan. It's taking place October 13th and 14th. And basically, it's a big fan event for Nintendo. Here's what's going on at the event. There is a Squid Sisters and Off the Hook concert. Now, that is cool. I really wish they would do one of those things here. Or have they done any in Europe? I know they've done them in Japan, but I don't know if they've done them anywhere else. I think people would go. Like, I think I know I would go. I would love to see something like that. But right now, there's just another one announced for Japan. There's also a Super Mario Maker 2 special that they're going to do on stage with Yoiko, and that's the comedy duo that features. Oh, this is terrible. I know the Cacho, the main guy, but then there's his comedy duo buddy, which I don't remember the name of. You know, and I guess between the two guys in the duo, there's the one guy who's more popular, and then there's the other guy who's not as popular. I mean, I'm sure in Japan they know him, but we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll make a name for himself on the stage there, and people start to like him more. But I don't know. And I've never seen any of their comedy outside of what the Cacho does with just his Game Master series. I don't do they. Obviously, they do other comedy bits not related to video games. I've just never seen it. Also, they're doing specials. There's a Nintendo Labo contest. There are several other Splatoon 2 events, and then there's all kinds of merchandise to get, which is very cool. Then there's tournaments for Splatoon 2, Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Super Mario Maker 2. In particular, the Super Mario Maker 2 tournament is looking to find the strongest Super Mario player in the country. You can submit a course for that event, and if Nintendo thinks it's worthy, then they'll give you a special polo shirt. So apparently there's going to be no other way to get this polo shirt. So as long as you build a level that's good enough, Nintendo will give you this shirt. Then what are you going to do? I don't know. Autumnal Blake says, that would be a super fun thing to go to. Let's hope it comes to more places if it does well. Yeah, I mean, I understand it would be a huge undertaking for Nintendo to do that. But they have millions of fans all over the world. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Like if they'll ever do something like that. There's certainly room for it. There's certainly interest in it. They do a lot of other things at other events like Comic-Con and other stuff like that. So I don't know. Maybe they feel they do enough here. Maybe it's just too hard to organize something like that over here because, you know, Nintendo quote unquote proper over in Japan is taking care of that stuff. But they'd have to work with Nintendo America and Nintendo Europe to do that stuff here. And there'd be a lot, you know, of passing of duties and stuff like that. So it'd be harder to put together. But they've done, well, I was going to say they've done stuff like at E3 with their tournaments there, but then Nintendo proper is also involved in that as well. So, hello, Susie. First, or we have the European downloads first. Oh my God, this list is so long. The European downloads are ridiculously long. There's Chroma Squad, Plague Inc., Trine 3, Catch a Duck, Mutant Year Zero, Forager, Raiders of the North Sea, Bear With Me, The Messenger's got its free DLC, The Tower of Beatrice, Arcade Archives Victory Road, Dungeon Warfare, Hamsterdam, Illusion of Falsia, Mace Tower Defense, Omega Labyrinth Life Deluxe version, Pandemic, Pelican, and Medjed. What the hell is that? Robbie Swifthand, Solo, Islands of the Heart, Standby, Shinobi Spirits S, Legends of Heroes, Sudoku Relax 2 Summer Waves. What a great name. Burger Chef Tycoon, Saboteur 2, Swallow Up, Super Wheeloo Demake, Swaps and Traps, The Church in the Darkness, Wrecking Ball Adventure, The Mystery of Woolly Mountain, got a demo. Word Sweeper by Paugy got a demo. Then there's a whole bunch of DLC, as there usually is. Man, I don't get why the lists for Europe are so much longer than North America. Speaking of North America, what do we get? We got Pandemic, we got the Doom Trilogy, we also got Animal Fight Club, Arcade Archives Road Fighter, Bear With Me, Burger Chef Tycoon, Catch a Duck, Chroma Squad, Classic Games Collection Volume 1, Damsel, Divine Ascent, Dungeon Warfare, Phobia, Hamsterdam, Illusion of, how do I say this, Lafalcia? Kai Resonance, Omega Life Labyrinth, Raiders of the North Sea, Robbie Swifthand and the Orb of Mysteries, Saboteur 2, Shinobi Spirits S, Solo, Islands of the Heart, Standby, Sudoku Relax 2 Summer Waves, Super Wheeloo Demake, Swaps and Traps, The Church in the Darkness, The Forbidden Arts, and The House of Da Vinci. Man, I cover so many games each week, and there's still so many titles that I didn't hear anything about. Popple says, looks like a big helping of SLU to me. That's what it usually is. That's not true. There's plenty of games in there. This is why I'm talking about hidden gems over on the Patreon, because I know there's so many games in there that are like fantastic that just the creators don't have the money for advertising, and the publishers don't have the reach of other big name publishers. So SLU is an old podcast / site thing, and it means sucks like usual. So, I know there is shovelware. There's shovelware on every platform, but I'm also sure there's plenty of games out there that people just haven't been able to give a shot because A, they don't know exists, B, it doesn't come from a developer or publisher that they know, or C, like maybe it doesn't look the best or didn't get a trailer or whatever. So I know there's plenty of hidden gems out there that people haven't played. Yes, you got it. Exactly, Reginilla. Reginilla says, how's work? And he says, SLU, sucks like usual. That's true. We have to go to questions, because I don't think that's all the top stories, by the way. I don't think I played anything this week. Did I play anything? I can't remember playing anything at all. It's been super busy. I'm going to do this on my phone because it's easier. Like I said, I've been gearing up for the trip, and work has been super busy, and I've just had so much going on that I haven't had the time to play anything. I know I talked about playing things. I actually got to see Lube this week, and when I saw him, I was asking him what he had been playing, and he was saying like the usual stuff, but he also started talking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 because he knew about it, but he hasn't had the chance to play. And I was like, I want to play that online with you. Let's get together and play that online. So that's what we're going to do, hopefully sometime before August closes out, because I'm sure it'll be over before I even realize it. I know it's only the 2nd, but time flies. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't play anything this week. I apologize. Matthew has the question for this week. Send your questions to GoNintendoQuestions@gmail.com. That is GoNintendoQuestions@gmail.com. Linzen says, Fire Emblem 3 Houses is fun. Hello, Sincero. I hear it is fun. I need to play it. Matthew says, if Samus is pregnant and goes into Morph Ball, what happens to baby? Jesus Christ. I don't even know what to say to that. Oh, thank you, Mitty. Go NintendoQuestions@gmail.com. That's where. If Samus is pregnant and goes into Morph Ball, what happens to baby? I'm going to say the baby is okay. I'm going to say Samus's body does whatever it needs to do to go into the Morph Ball, which protects the rest of her body, obviously. So, and the rest of her organs in her body are protected. So I would guess if she were pregnant, that the baby the baby would be okay. And just as I'm saying this, I'm realizing how silly this conversation is, but I mean that as a compliment. Yeah, I'm going to officially put my mark on it. Samus's baby is okay. Samus's baby is going to be totally fine, guys. Don't worry about it. If you have a differing opinion, please in the chat let me know, or I can read some of your comments next week. Yes, Antonio, I did hear about the unofficial Nintendo Direct in Brazil. We actually posted about that. Yeah, I think the baby's going to be fine. We don't need to worry, guys. Now let me go over to Patreon, because I'm going to read your Patreon questions, which I said I would do. We have a special section over on the Patreon where people can ask questions about whatever the hell they want. The same as the other questions section. But I want to give our Patreon gang a place to drop questions so it's not as crowded as the other section. And this week's comment comes from, let me make sure I pick up where I was last time. Firecrackers. And Firecrackers says, do the Pokemon Ditto mate in their boy, these questions this time. Do the Pokemon Ditto mate in their native form or in their copy form? If native, are there differences between male and female Ditto? If copy, do they need to copy the same species, or can a Wailord Ditto or Wailord Ditto mate with a Weedle Ditto? This is so above my pay grade. I can't answer this at all. I know what Ditto is. I know what Ditto does. But I can honestly say I've never thought about how Ditto reproduces. So I don't have an answer. Lightning Bro in the chat says, I'd assume just cellular division. No. Robot Face says, we need to know. And Colma says, Ditto transforms down to their DNA. So, I think I know a lot of things about Nintendo. I certainly don't know it all. My weak area is Pokemon. I know Colma to be a very knowledgeable person in all things Nintendo. If Colma says Ditto transforms down to their DNA, then I'm going with Colma. This is one of those. I might address this comment or this question next week with the podcast crew, because I'm sure they would have some more interesting insight or some other crazier ideas. That's it. Lankwin says, save that question for the investor Q&A. That's the perfect idea. Do that. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you about Ditto, other than Ditto freaks me out. So I don't want to know much about what Ditto does, because everything that I know about Ditto is enough. Like, I've learned enough to have it bother me greatly. So we'll leave it at that. What time are we at? Well, that's about how it works out for a podcast without music and other people to talk off of or to play off of. So that's it. That's GoNintendo Podcast 729. Thank you to the crazy group of you that joined me for this very late night random show. I greatly appreciate it. Your conversation always makes the show a lot more fun. Your live support makes it a ton of fun as well. Just as I said earlier in the show, thank you for your support in general. It's a blast. I love doing what I do because of you guys. So thank you. But that's it for this week's podcast. And there's no after show because I have so much to do. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will be back next week. Regular day. I don't know about regular time. It'll definitely be regular day. It might be later in that day, though. It all depends on how the travel is back from North Carolina. So we'll see regular day, definitely, and back with the good microphones and all that jazz. So hopefully you have a lovely week. You'll see me regularly on GoNintendo and on YouTube and on the Patreon and all that stuff. Thank you for your support. Have a great weekend. Hang out with friends and family. Play some games. Rest, relax. You deserve it. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody. There's a little bit of after show because I have to click over here. Goodbye, everybody.